Hello, everybody. Welcome back to P.A.N. Podcast About Nothing. I'm excited to be here today with my two lovely, beautiful, outrageously awesome co-hosts, Alex and Matthew.
What's up, guys?
Today, these guys don't know it, but they're both up on the chopping block of what goes on in my head. And what goes on in my head is every episode we have a most valuable podcaster little trophy. It might look like this. And one of these guys today, I don't know where their heads are at. They might have forgotten about it. They might remember it. It's hard telling, but they're going to be competing for it. And that involves them giving it their best shot. And in this little podcast that we have going on here, these wins mean everything. So I just want them to remember that. And if you're new here, thank you for joining. Without further ado, do you guys, my lovely co-host and contestants today, have anything remotely interesting to talk about?
I got so much to talk about. And I'm actually
much to talk about?
I'm waiting for my hat to go Gryffindor.
If that thing starts talking, I'm ending the recording, packing up, and moving states away from you.
Slytherin. Ravenclaw. I don't. Oh yeah, it's helpful.
I'm Clan Doofenshmirtz or whatever.
I do want to just
Clan. Clan.
I'm sorry. I love
House.
Harry Potter. I'm a Gryffindor.
No, I love Harry Potter.
I'm a Ravenclaw, if I remember right. I took a
You
test
seem like a
once.
Ravenclaw.
At least I'm not a Hufflepuff. Them are bitches.
What do I seem like?
Hufflepuff.
Oh, I meant to slap my. Oh God.
Did you just hit your nose? You smacked your nose?
No. I meant to slap my lap and I slapped my ball.
All right, we get it. You have a big dick, Alex. No need to rub it in our face.
Would it be big
Metaphorically,
if he
not literally.
Please. Is it big if he actually hit his balls?
No, he's just got big balls.
Yeah, he's just got big balls.
He's actually lanky. He has the thigh gap of like the Grand Canyon, so it'd probably be hard not to hit it.
Oh, fucking baby.
I think he just hits it on purpose to have an excuse to be sterile one of these days.
Fuck you.
Oh, sorry, honey, I can't have kids. I smacked my balls.
If you even look at his nuts wrong, then he's like, oh.
Well, it never really would help whenever...
Me and our buddy Ben will meme on it all the time because if you so much as just barely tap his knee, he's like, oh.
That's
What's he
not
got?
cool.
You got old man nuts? It's like fucking Jackass where the nuts
Well,
hang down.
what would
past the
happen
shorts.
is, you know what? Every single time. So this is before I started living here, I think, or at least it started before I lived here. Noelle would always bum rush the door to see who it was, and it was cute at first, but then she would get into the habit of jumping, like kind of like just doing a little bit of a hop, put her front paws on you. Well, every single time that she would do that, she would somehow miraculously line up to just slap the ever living shit out of my balls every single time. So every single time I came over, it would just be pop, just like a nut shot every single time I would come here. And thankfully that stopped. But then there was another thing where this is like one of my exes. She was laying across my lap for whatever reason. I don't remember where I was sitting or why she was. But she moved, and like she was like sliding off that way, and I straight up got a testicular torsion out of it because whenever she moved, the ball went like rolled with her, and I think I genuinely remember like actually yelling out in pain, like that fucking sucked.
Yeah, there's a guy that had to get a nut removed because of that.
Yeah, you better be careful getting your nuts torsed.
Yeah.
Testicular torsion.
Yeah, well, I teased something for small talk. I teased a little like spooky thing, It was like not a ghost story, but it's a little spooky. So my last house I owned was a real nice house, real great. Ended up getting divorced, so got rid of the house and sold it and everything. So don't currently live there now. Uh, One of the weird, creepy things I remember telling, I know I've told Jesse about it. I, my mom didn't really want me to buy the house, and I never really took what she said seriously because it was just kind of creepy what she said. But she was really like worried about it a little bit. It had nothing to do necessarily with like my marriage or anything like that. It was more just she got like a really weird, like almost like vision, I guess. So when she, so we went and looked at the house. We ended up, fell in love with it. We were going to buy it. And so we were going to buy the house. We put an offer in. It got accepted. And then a lot of times it takes, a couple months before you can even get into a house when you buy it because you got to do like inspections and just this whole 9 yards. But a lot of times you can go like look at the house again. And so like we took my parents and went and looked at it and like her mom and like, just showing the house to like different family members and stuff. My mom had said that she's like, Matthew, I really don't want you to buy the house. And she was almost in tears when she told me. And she's like, I don't want you to buy the house. Like, I really would like if you could just back out of it. And I'm like, why? And she had said the master bathroom, because that house had 3 bathrooms. The master, she said when she walked in, for whatever reason, and I don't know if it was like a vision or if it was just, like, I don't really know. I don't know. I didn't experience it. But she said when she walked into the master bathroom, all she seen was blood, like everywhere, just blood everywhere, all over the bathroom, almost like a murder had taken place in that bathroom. There's just blood everywhere. Really freaked her out, and so she like tried to get me to not buy that house because she was like, I don't know if this is like a vision, like something bad's gonna happen here, like, or if it's just a bad sign. I don't know, and it was really creepy. And I just kind of like blew it off. I'm like, you're fucking crazy, like whatever, you're crazy. I ended up getting divorced. Whole thing happened, whatever. Nothing weird like that ever happened, with no blood and no bathrooms. Nothing weird.
Right. God, I hope not.
But that whole thing happens. And at this point, I'm divorced. And I'm sitting there and I'm talking to my dad. And my dad's like, yeah, I'm glad, you got out of the house and everything. And he said, because when I went into the master bathroom, he said, I seen blood everywhere. Like I just had this vision of blood. And he's like, it really scared me. He's like, I never said nothing to you, but he's like, it really freaked me out. And I remember when he told me that, it like clicked that memory of my mom telling me the same thing. And I said, are you guys just fucking with me? Like, you guys are just fucking with me. Because my mom was like in the other room, I think, when my dad had said it. She didn't hear what my dad said. And my dad's like, what are you talking about? I'm not messing with you. And I'm like, you both said the same thing. And so they hadn't even talked about it. They ended up finding out they both had the same like vision or whatever. I don't know what you would want to call that. But they both had the same thing when they walked in that bathroom. They both seen blood everywhere. And really fucking creepy. I don't know how you explain that.
It's just
Did you ever
just
look
a bad
into the
negative
house?
omen.
There was definitely no murders or anything that happened in the house. And a lot of times like that shit has to get, told.
No, not always. If there is a certain matter of time where if a certain like pretty much if there's a time threshold that takes place, like say I don't remember the exact one for
Yeah.
I think it varies from state to state. It could be wrong. I think Indiana might be 10, if I remember correctly. After a certain but anyway, after a certain amount of 10 years. After a certain amount of years, nobody has to disclose shit. Like you don't have to file it in the house. Like you don't have to say a word. Or in certain instances, like say someone sold a house, or say person A gets told, or like person A kills someone at their house. Person B buys that after a certain amount of time. He knows that that happened. After he gets it, he does not have to relinquish that information at all. Like regardless of time period, does not matter.
Well, that's silly.
That is silly.
So there, I'm not saying there was, like, I don't know, but there's.
I mean, nothing ever weird happened. Like nothing weird happened in the house. I never felt weird or nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just always thought that was really weird because when my mom told me, I'm just like, oh, you're fucking crazy. You're nuts. Like that's kind of what I just chopped it up to be. I'm like, whatever, and I didn't really take her seriously. And then my dad said it, and then I'm like, okay, that's really weird. That's really weird.
That is.
But on a lighter note, I do have something else I wanted to talk about, and then I'll let Alex say anything if he has anything to say. You guys, we all have Spotify. Obviously, these get uploaded to Spotify. Have you guys seen the Spotify DJ? Have you guys seen that? So I was just kind of fucking around. I was listening to some podcasts, listening to some music, and in the course of changing music, I stumbled upon what was called the Spotify DJ. And I'm like, wonder what that is. So I clicked it, and it starts talking to me. And he's like, basically like, hey, yo, what's up? I'm the Spotify DJ, blah, blah, blah. And he just goes and does this introduction.
The same.
Yeah.
Oh, is it an AI?
It's an AI. Yeah, during it, he goes,
I don't switch on your lights.
Yeah, you hear him.
We allowed to...
I know what you listen to. I see Kenny Chesney there. So I'm going to be here
every No, he doesn't.
You don't like Kenny Chesney music?
No, I'm just kidding.
And I'm always on the lookout for stuff too.
Okay, sorry. I was just
so basically he does that whole introduction. He says he's an AI, but he's like, don't worry about it. I'm all about music. Blah, blah, blah. He's basically like a radio host in a sense. Because what he does is how he brought up Kenny Chesney. What he would have done was he would have played a Kenny Chesney song, and then he would have went through basically songs that are similar to Kenny Chesney or whatever, and he would play songs that kind of like match that country vibe. And then after like 3 or 4 songs, he'll switch it up. And like, let's say you have like a different artist on there that has nothing to do with like country. Maybe he'll switch it up to something like that.
Aerosmith.
Yeah, and then he'll start playing that. And if you don't like it, there's a button down there you can hit, and he'll be like, okay, I understand that's not the vibe. We'll switch it up. And
so
it's
the vibes are off.
and it's just like listening to the radio because like if you go through your liked songs, let's say you go through your liked songs and you just put it on like random, it always does that hard cut where it's like the song ends and there might be like 5 seconds of silence, or it just does a hard cut at the end of the song and then it just starts a new one.
Right.
What it does is it does it just like you're listening to the radio where it does a fade. So like when the song's coming to an end, it'll slowly turn that song down and then start the second song. It's actually like fucking cool. It is so awesome.
It's kind of like an upgraded version of like streaming platforms randomizers. Like I know, like I don't like Pandora's randomizer. It's bad. I've never really
people
liked
who
it.
still use Pandora are just they are
they're behind.
No, I wouldn't say that as much as like they just like they're contrarians.
Yes, I can agree to that. Like like I would also say that they are very behind when it comes down to like what's out there now.
There's absolutely no reason not to use Spotify.
Yeah. Because at first I was against Spotify. I did not have Spotify for the longest time. And I'm still a little bit off on it. Like, I still use YouTube a decent amount. But, like, Spotify compared to a lot of audio, like, streaming services or, like, podcasts, whatever, I like it a lot more.
I find Spotify just absolutely amazing. And if they can promote our podcast more, that would just be great. I'm not going to say one thing bad about them, Alex.
They haven't kicked us off the platform yet.
I'm not saying that they're bad, by all means. I didn't say that Spotify was bad at all. I said Pandora sucked.
But it was actually really cool, and they also the AI will introduce new songs, so it's not necessarily like just going through your liked songs.
Mm-hmm.
It will take songs that are similar, like it'll take like a different country artist that's similar to Kenny Chesney, that's a song that you may not have, Jesse, and then it'll play that song, and then
So
you
it
can go.
basically takes in the Discover feature of
Mm-hmm.
Spotify, the liked playlist feature of Spotify, the crossfade setting in Spotify, and
And
basically culminates into an AI.
yeah, and throws it all into one. Yeah, it is actually really cool.
I love
I
Seems
seeing
pretty
those
cool.
videos where it's like the fade in, like people were like ranking each other's like fade ins, like song to song type of fades.
Yeah.
Dude, some of them were so. I don't remember the first song, but the second song was one of the Halo themes. Jesse, don't be mad if I can't remember which one. Uh, oh my god, it was like the end of like this opera piece. I think I could be wrong, or it was just like a really beautiful note, and then it just ties into the Halo, the Halo theme. I was just like, oh, dude, like some of those transitions are so amazing.
I just want to
Call.
say, and Matt, I don't think you probably don't know about this, but I know I sent it in the group chat on Facebook to Cody and Alex. There is this like orchestral mashup. I don't know if you guys know Hans Zimmer,
Yeah,
but he's made a fuck ton of movie and video game music, all the way from like the Marvel DC universe, all the way to the newer. He's done projects on the Halos, Ace Combats, Call of Duty.
yeah.
He's a big guy for Call of Duty. Um,
Mm-hmm.
all of these big orchestral pieces. And they did a mashup, I think, for a piece with Bastille for the Grammys. And if you guys know the song Pompeii by Bastille,
Mm-hmm.
um, they did, they had the lead singer from Bastille sing, and they had the orchestra, like strings, like horns, opera, the whole shabam, symphonies and whatnot, um, full symphony mash up with
Oh, I
that.
can imagine that.
And you'll have to look it up on YouTube after this, but it's actually like, even if somebody doesn't like symphony composed pieces, especially ones that might bleed into like 2010s pop
Mm-hmm.
mashup, then I'd get it. But I think even for somebody like that, I think they would enjoy it, because it basically took what that whole mashup fade transition thing is in social media right now, and put it into real life with instrumentation and voices. I thought that was pretty cool.
I
I
need to
I
look at that. That sounds. I can already like mentally envision it.
If you
I'm
check the
already
messenger
digging it.
group chat, it'll be one of the most recent things on there.
I think one
yeah.
of the only things that I want to add to small talk as a whole is recently. Um, so I grew up loving Johnny Cash, loved him to death, loved his music. Uh, I didn't know that he had kids or even grandkids for that matter. And I was just scrolling on TikTok and everything, and scrolling on Facebook, whatever, and I came across a guy named Thomas Gabriel. He is the grandson of Johnny Cash. And what I found, and Jesse, ironically, he or like amazing, like funny enough, he ends up sending me the same video that I found of him, and he and I had plans to send him that same video eventually because I was like, dude, what? He sounds so damn similar to how Johnny did. I mean, just like like he sounds a little bit different, and I think that I attributed that to mostly just modern audio equipment compared to what Johnny had back then.
But he also had a
But
much more coarse voice, so like you could tell on some of the
yeah,
lower notes that Johnny would hit, that his grandson would
yeah, he can't
he would
he can't
struggle
go
with.
that low. But other than that, like it is so damn similar. I just love to see the fact that he is still out there. Like he does his own songs too. He actually plays with he plays with his half brother, John Carter Cash, as well. That is the one that I think I remembered knowing more of, who he had with June, but he had, or his mom was one of the kids from like one of his past relationships that I didn't know about, and the dude is awesome. Like, I encourage anyone to check him out. He's pretty great.
That's awesome. I don't want to butter Jesse up, but I don't know if we've ever talked about this on the podcast. Jesse does an amazing Halo theme song. Jesse's great at it.
Find me a bathroom with fucking reverberation, bro,
Yeah.
and I'm there.
Like
That,
when we
or
went
like
on
an empty parking garage, you know what I mean? Just find an empty parking garage with a lot of echoing effect.
when we went on vacation, Gavin, Mary, and Gavin and I, we were kind of like a little bit behind Jesse and LaCrista, but when we got to the bathroom, or not the bathroom, the goddamn the pool,
Mhm.
Jesse's just throwing it down, in the pool.
It's
area.
good.
It's so amazing.
I attribute it to Jesse's singing voice, and as well as the fact that he has played those games religiously his entire life.
It's so amazing.
I don't sing on purpose because I don't want anybody to know how good I am.
Okay.
I would
I'm just
love
kidding.
it. It was like that. Well, I don't know the name, and I should because Eagles are my favorite football team. But there was that guy on the
Jason
Eagles.
Miata, I think.
Was that who did it?
Yeah.
I think it's Miata.
Yeah, the guy off the Eagles, he did it, and it sounded great too. But yeah, Jesse is just a
Him,
whole nother
Kelsey,
level with
and
it.
I'm pretty sure it was Lane Johnson. They were the ones with the Christmas album, right? I
Yeah.
don't know about Lane Johnson. I could be wrong about him, but I know Jason was in there. Jason Kelsey was in there too.
Yeah, I love it. I love the fact that you could do it and do it so well. And just me looking at my notes, I just wanted to ask you, Alex, because you were kicked out of the last podcast when we talked about this, Jesse and I.
Mhm.
I just want to add, are you an alarm adder?
Am I a what?
An alarm adder. Or are you
So do you edit alarms or do you just add and add and add alarms? We'll add the poll for this episode for sure because I
we
didn't
forgot
add
to
it
do
for
it
that
last
episode.
Oh.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
So what I have is I have a bunch of alarms set for so like whenever I was working nights, I had alarms set for in 5-minute intervals. I had alarms set from 8:55 all the way till 9:35, and then take a cut, and then from about 10:50 or about like 10:45 to 11:35 for the nights that I would be working at either 10 or 11. And then I have from school, like I still had them from back when I was in college. I had ones that were set from ranges from 6:30 to about 8:30. So
Yeah.
I have so many that are in there that I no longer really have to set any alarms.
So you're
Besides
an alarm adder.
setting them. Like I don't know like how you describe that.
Yeah, no,
Like
you're an
now
alarm
I don't
adder.
really do either
I have
because
had
I
the
just turn them
same
on.
20 alarms for my entirety of smartphone life. I literally only edit them if one day I'm getting up at 6 p.m., I'm like, okay, 6, 6:10, 6:20, 6:30, 6:40, 6:50, 7.
Yeah.
And then I'll have one set from 8 to 8:10 to 8:20, 8:30, 8:40, 8:50, then 9. So I go to work at 10.
Yeah.
I never have deleted or added more or less than 20 alarms to any of my phones.
So
and if I get over 20, I delete them.
So how many alarms do you think you would have, Alex? Just take a guess. You don't got to count. He's counting.
No, I think there's just a thing at the top in there.
No, it doesn't tell you how many alarms you have at the top. You would have to actually count them.
No, you just tap the all.
Oh, okay.
Granted, I think this is also counting some that I don't use anymore that I just haven't deleted. 58.
58. Okay,
I have
so
58 different alarms to where they all have or had certain needs, and now I don't have to set any different alarm. Well, I don't have to make any new alarms. I could just tap
Jesse has 11.
I have 11 alarms.
I'm not going to do that to mine because I already know the number. And I know the number because
Is it worse?
there's a limit. I found the limit. So I'm an alarm adder, and I've worked through my years a lot of different shifts, and between taking naps, so maybe I need to take a nap. I'm taking a nap. I need to wake up at a different time, or my shifts have changed, and so I need to wake up at different times. I do set the alarms in 5-minute intervals, like you guys said. The limit is 100 because the other day I needed to set a different alarm, a weird time. Never needed to set an alarm for that time. My phone said no, and I was like, "Why are you telling me no? Just set the fucking alarm." And it goes, "You can't set more than 100 alarms." And so I'm at 100 alarms, and my phone won't let me go any higher. So now,
You need to clear out some space, big guy.
I'm an alarm deleter and alarm adder. So if I gotta add an alarm, I gotta delete one. Because
What would you say me and Jesse are then? Because now me and Jesse don't do anything. We just set them because they're already.
You're an alarm editor. We went over this.
We're editors.
Yes. I think over 50, Alex is an alarm adder. I think Jesse's an alarm editor. I think you have to.
You're either alarm or anti-alarm. Pick a side.
So here's the thing, though, is the fact that these 58 have been gathered over a span of at least 4 or 5 years.
What do you think my 100 have been?
But now I don't add any of them. And in fact, if I were to go through it, I could easily delete 30 minimum.
Okay, let me ask you. So let me ask you this. So you have 58. Here's the thing. This is what decides if you're an alarm adder or alarm editor. If you need to set an alarm for 2:30 p.m. and you don't have one, do you delete one of the other ones? Or do you click on one of the ones you don't currently use and edit it, or do you just add one?
No, I'll edit it.
You'll edit it. Okay, then you're alarm editor.
I'll click the closest one. Like say there's a 2:30. Like I need to be awake at 2:30, and I have a 3:30 alarm. I'm tapping that 3:30 and turning it to a 2.
Then
so basically, you guys are just lazy and haven't deleted all the alarms you've never used again in a day in your life.
Me?
I still use my alarms.
I'm an adder.
Except for the ones that I have for night crew. Those ones I need to get rid of.
I've probably edited 5 alarms in my life. I set them and I add them. I don't ever change them.
I made them. I will edit them when needed, but because if I have that many, I just tap.
I said it a few episodes ago, or last episode, or whatever episode it was when Jesse and I talked about it. If I could have an alarm every 5 minutes of every hour for the whole 24 hours of the day, I'd have that many alarms set on my phone. But apparently, with all the technology we have, we can't do that.
You need a nuclear alarm clock.
I've heard of those, I think.
That goes by Greenwich Mean Time. So, are you guys done? Are you guys done? God damn.
I'm done.
Shut up. Shut up.
Are you guys done?
You guys fucking done yet, dude?
Y'all ready to shut the fuck up.
All right, so alarms are scary.
Missing an alarm is scary.
Missing alarm is scary. You know what's scarier? Ghosts. The unexplained. Look at that segue. You guys know? Hold on. Shut up. You guys know how to spell segue?
Nobody's talking. Do I know how to spell segue? It's what?
Yes.
Segway?
Alex, what's your guess for how you spell segue in that sense?
I think that what he just said right there is the vehicle, if you want to call it that. I think that's the vehicle. I think segue is SEGUE.
Good job.
GUE? That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that
There's a-
segue is spelled that way in a sentence.
That's weird.
I think what the way that Matt did it, I think is only
Segway.
for the little scooter thing that mall cops have.
Oh yeah. Paul
I
Blart.
think I could be wrong. Don't quote me on it.
Paul Blart.
Paul Blart. I just
Kevin James, baby.
Kevin James.
So, all right, shut the fuck up. I'm sick of it. It's 32 minutes. Do you guys are you guys down clown with the part 2 of our recent episode?
I'm
Or
down.
okay, I'm just saying this is 32 minutes and 5 seconds. You guys won't shut your traps about alarm clocks and Paul Blart.
He
And
started it.
Whoa, now we're pointing fingers.
Oh,
That's
I'm sorry,
not
it's a
shit.
podcast. I'm talking. You want me to shut up the whole time? What do you want me to do?
Well, we went into this.
I'm
with
a
the game
walking
plan.
contradiction.
We're wasting time. We're wasting time.
You guys literally all you do is talk, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, I suggest you stop watching.
If you guys came here to listen to people talk, you're about to be in for a fucking treat.
So
Not talk for the next 28 fucking minutes.
that's the next episode.
The next at least 10 episodes that I host, no one's talking. It's all going to be just visual presentation.
We're gonna be
It's
fucking
gonna-
mimes next episode.
I was gonna say like a silent movie. Well, I'm gonna start us off with this spooky story. Now, I'll say this from the very beginning. I could be misremembering how my mom told me this, like the exact people that were involved. I'm gonna leave everyone anonymous.
Except for your mom.
I get. Well,
That was the only.
I'm
One
was
of
like
my legal
funny.
guardians.
I'll say this: she was the one that told me this story, but I can't remember with full detail if she was actively involved or she heard this story from people that she knew. So I'm not 100% privy on that. But the story goes, they were involved with the Ouija board. It was 3 men that either she or her friends went to high school with, and 1 female. It was late one night, and they all had a Ouija board. They all decided to. Well, I think the girl was apprehensive at first, but then she was coaxed into it, and she wanted to do it. And the 3 guys, like they all 4 get into a circle. They put their hands on the planchette, and they start playing. After some time, they end up coming across something that was of malintent. It starts behaving in a very, very darker way, and the 3 men, well, teens, they all start antagonizing. They started berating and cussing out and just pretty much just taunting whatever spirit they were communicating with, and it goes ballistic to the point where they can't even hang on to the planchette anymore. And it is flying across the board, spelling out "fuck you, fuck you, fuck you," and all these horrible obscenities later, to the point where finally they start taunting it some more, and they said, "All right, if you know so much about me," like one of them started, like they all pretty much, all the 3 men, well, boys, they all asked it, like, if you know so much, how am I going to die? To the first one, it said, you will take your life. To the second one, it said, you will die in a bloody accident.
Damn.
Third one,
Said
I
damn.
said, damn.
Third one says, you'll be shot in your own home. Years and years later, they possibly had even forgotten this night had occurred. The first one took his own life down the line. I can't remember exactly why. I feel bad for him. I don't know the man personally. I don't even know his name. But he ended up taking his own life. Second guy, he ended up falling down a escalator, and on the final impact, his head had shattered across one of these steps and just blew out all over the side of the along the escalator and onto the pavement, or not pavement, the inside of whatever building he was in. The third one lived the longest, and he actually ended up getting reached to a certain point in his life where he was happily married. One night, a person had gone into his home, and I believe that he was, if I remember right, I don't remember exactly who he was to the guy, or if he was just some lunatic, whatever, but he ended up shooting him and his wife in his bed.
Damn.
So
Good God. Good
yeah.
Lord.
Now, once again, I'm going to reiterate, I do not know any of these three men. I feel bad what happened, but I do not remember if my mom was actively there or knew the girl. If I remember right, nothing happened to the girl. Nothing happened to the girl because she was whenever the three guys were actively just harassing whatever spirit they were speaking to, she wanted nothing to do with it. If I remember right, she ended up actually leaving because she was way too freaked out. And if
really
I don't, I think my mom knew her, whoever that fourth girl was, or the fourth person, the only girl there.
Yeah, that's really creepy. I'm not gonna say that it's fake, but that's such a unbelievable story. It almost feels like, and I'm not saying you're faked, but it's
right.
It's such a
oh no, I had a lot of problems with believing it at first too, but whenever because my mom, she's never really been a liar. She's never been one to lie to me. Obviously, there's Santa or Tooth Fairy, shit you tell a kid.
Yeah.
But whenever I hit a certain age, I would say early teens, I would say 13, 14 years old, she was very open to me about a lot of pretty heavy shit and a lot of stories that she would tell about, either because I'm not going to get into it, but a lot of bad stories involving her parents or my dad or what have you. There were a lot of bad stories, and she would be very open to tell them.
Right.
So this one, I feel has a pretty solid chance of being real, but I do understand why it could be seen as, hey, it could be your mom just trying to scare you.
Yeah, I feel like she was like, I don't want you messing with a Ouija board. And then she did this. She went, come here, son. Let's talk. Let's talk.
I got a story.
Chris is coming out to make coffee, so I turned my camera off. I'm fine. I'm here.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm here in the void.
That's literally all I was imagining was just her. Come here, son.
Matt's spooky face set me off into the never realm.
You're sitting there. She makes a camp. She makes a campfire. She turns a light on. She's like,
she dresses up like that. What was it? The scary clay, the scary animated thing from Courage the Cowardly Dog that gave everyone nightmares.
Yeah. Your brother's hiding in the woods behind you. He jumps out and does a jump scare on you when you're intrigued in the story. You're like, ah! That's all I was thinking of. If that is true, which I'm not saying it isn't, I mean, it sounds like it could be very true. That is very creepy. That is very terrifying. Absolutely. I don't think I have as in a terrifying story as that. I don't think I do. I don't know. I don't have.
And that's the beauty of it too, is the fact that it could either be completely bullshit, or if it actually was true. That is the most horrifying thing I think I have ever heard.
Yeah, no, if that like like if I actually knew people that did that and I was there, witnessed it, like that girl that you said is still, around, or that you think is the woman that knows your mom, um, for her, I'd be absolutely terrified. I'd still be struggling to sleep at night knowing that I watched all that happen and then those three men died that exact way that
Yeah, it's
the
because
being.
to connect the dots that way is just like adds a whole nother layer of just terrifying to the whole thing. If it really is like a true account of what happened.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I'm trying to. I got a lot of little stories, I guess, because um, and I don't want to. And I'm the same that way. I don't want to say any stories. Uh, Basically, there's a girl I know who grew up in a very, very haunted house. Uh, didn't really believe her so much because, I mean, you're just kind of always skeptical. You're just like, oh, really? And then you hear some stories. I've been in the house. Definitely weird vibes. Definitely weird vibes in the house. Her brother had told me a story about when he was still living there. He had went downstairs and every cabinet and every drawer was pulled out in the kitchen. And I don't, just hearing that, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Just put yourselves in his shoes. Could you imagine walking downstairs and looking in your kitchen and every cabinet and drawer is wide open?
My first
I
reaction would be I'd be pissed because now I have to close all the
Yeah.
cabinets and the drawers.
My first reaction would be, I'm going right back upstairs. I'm not. I probably would never went downstairs. I would have threw a ladder out the window, climbed down. I'd never walked in the house again. You'd never see me again.
I'll say
Oh,
that like I remember it reminded me a little bit of Paranormal Activities,
yeah.
and I've only seen the first one, and the
Poltergeist
entire
activity.
huh
That's what they call it, poltergeist activity.
oh anyway I remember thinking that the dude was a complete piece of shit because of like he was just behaving like a complete jerk the entire time, but also like their decisions throughout the movie. I was like, why are you following it? Like, why are you chasing whatever is like a haunting you? Like,
I
if I were
I
you,
still
I'm staying in that bed. I am grabbing anything holy around me, and I am just hunkering down. There's no way that you can even fight that.
I still from that movie don't like my foot hanging outside of the blanket. The blanket is
I
definitely
Be like, whoop.
yeah, yeah. No, I'm not getting dragged out of bed. Fuck that. The blanket's gonna save me. Um, but another really creepy story from that house was the dad and the mom got divorced, and then the dad started seeing another woman, and he kept the house. Um, and so a lot of weird things would happen. They would see every once in a while, they'd see like figures at the top of the stairs walk from like the bedroom to the bathroom. Just really like just weird shit like that. Nothing crazy. They stuff would be moved, cabinets, drawers would open when they're not supposed to, and there was no explanation to it. The dog would the dog that was there, they would the dog would see stuff and get freaked out and stuff, but nothing like ever really like angry happened. It was just always weird stuff like that. And like the garage door to go out to the garage, it would open and shut, and just stuff like that. Nothing crazy, but enough that if you were there, it would you'd be freaked out if you actually seen it. Though the scariest thing, and still just would have left. I don't know how she didn't. She was she like had basically the woman that got with the dad, after the divorce, she kind of got one of the rooms. Like, she obviously stayed in the bedroom with the dad, but she had like one of the other rooms when all the kids left. She just kind of like, that's her space, and she has like extra clothes in that closet and just shit like that. And she got super, super cold, and there was a really weird, like, kind of scary feeling that had happened. And she heard like a noise in the closet. And she opened the closet, and her shirt that was hanging on the door, like how doors that have like a hook, and then you could put like clothes on it. When you open the door, the shirt's right there against the door. The shirt that was there had 3 marks that went like probably like 6 inches down, just cut her shirt. I would be gone, mind you. Literally cut her shirt like claws. I'd be gone. Even telling that story, I'm getting cold chills. Hell with that story.
That's some fuckery.
I would be gone. I'd be out.
Wow.
It was a really creepy story. And like I know all of those people personally. I wasn't there, so I can't say it was true or not. I don't see why they would have any reason to lie to me about it. Very, very creepy story.
That's very creepy. I give that a bonkers on the scary scale.
A bonkers.
Do
It's
you
a
have
bonkers out of 10?
We're only at 4. I have another story, but I'm assuming Alex probably wants to go. If you got another one.
You can tell your second one if you want. I mean, I think I have one more, but if you want to tell your.
Well, you think about it while I tell this one. So another, and I'm not going to like describe who she is. I don't want to give it away. She's a nurse at the hospital, and I know her personally too. And I can't remember because this was a story that was told to me, probably 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was a family member. I don't think it was somebody at the hospital. I think it was a family member that was close to her, but I don't want to be mistaken. But I believe it was a family member that was close to her, and he was on the couch, and he wasn't doing very well, and he had a lot of health. He had a lot of health issues, and wasn't doing very good, and it was kind of looking like it was going to be the end. He was going to pass away, is what it was looking like. He ended up falling asleep. And, this could be just totally be a dream. I don't know. But he fell asleep. And when he fell asleep, he said it was real life, which, if I remember correctly, he's still alive today. But he fell asleep, and he wasn't doing good, had a lot of problems. And he said it was real life. It wasn't a dream. Hard to tell, because some people have dreams that are very, very real. So can't really say it wasn't a dream. I don't know. He said it's real. 3 people, and I don't know, you guys are like into the religious stuff, so maybe you guys know something about this, and maybe it'll ring a bell. But he said that there was 3 people, and they were basically just like figures, kind of tall men. All 3 were men. And the one in the middle, and it's almost like the Grim Reaper type shit, The one in the middle had a book that was open, and it had basically like his name. And the one in the middle was the only one that talked. The other 2 didn't say anything. And the one in the middle was trying to get him to sign the book. He just kept saying, "It's your time's up. You need to sign the book. Like, you need to sign the book. This is it." And he basically was handing him a pen to sign the book. And the guy was just like, "No, I'm not signing it. Like, I'm not ready. I'm not signing it. I'm not doing it." And he just kept fighting. And the guy just kept proceeding, like, no, you need to sign the book. It's over. Like, you need to sign the book. It's time. Sign it. And he, like, kind of getting almost angry with him because he wouldn't sign the book. And after so many minutes of him fighting, the guy finally just closed the book. And then they disappeared, and he woke up. And don't know if it was a dream. He says it's completely real. He said he was awake. And the guy was trying to get him to sign the book. Almost like what do you say, Jesse? Like when someone's passing away or they're on their brain there's still activity and there's stuff going on. It's
Yeah,
almost
there's usually a lot of brain activity, 30 minutes to an hour
yeah,
post mortem.
yeah, and I don't know if the guy was like on the verge of passing away. Maybe he was just hallucinating. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was like the Grim Reaper in a sense. I don't know if there's anything because I'm not really a religious person. I don't know nothing about anything like that. I don't know if three men is a thing. Like as three men showing up with a book. I don't know if that's a thing anywhere in a Bible,
So
and maybe anywhere around.
there's
very
only
creepy.
two things that I could take a shot in the dark with, but both of them there's a little bit of a plot twist with. If I remember correctly, the phrase "the Book of Life" is referenced a few times in the Bible. I don't know if it's exactly word for that. Most times than not, it is either seen with either the angel Gabriel, I believe, and then at times referenced with Jesus in heaven. The three part is a little bit weird because it's like, all right, it could be Gabriel and possibly with two other angels, but bear in mind this has a plot twist. Or what while Jesus was in life in the Bible, there were two men that were referenced that would whenever God would say that Jesus was like whenever God would make known that Jesus was his son on earth, Moses and Elijah would be with him. It's either Elijah or Elisha. It's a little bit confusing. I can't remember. I think it was Elisha. And whenever Jesus took, I think it was Peter and I don't remember the other. I think it was Peter and John.
Yeah,
Took
it's
him
Peter and
to.
John.
He took him to like a little bit on a hill, and Jesus, like a light shined down on Jesus, and there with Jesus was Elisha and Moses, or was it Abraham? I can't remember if it was Moses or Abraham. I know one of them
I
was
think it
Elijah.
might have been Abraham.
I think it was Abraham, but and then that's whenever God said, "This is my son, who I am very well," or "This is my son, for who I am very well pleased." However, Book of Life, whenever it's referenced in biblical text and everything, it's not something that you sign. It's pretty much if you believed in God or if you were like seen as God, like if you were seen as like a godly man, whatever, then your name gets in, like is in the Book of Life and you go into heaven. Not you necessarily write it though. However, biblically speaking, the devil is cited to sometimes portray himself as God. Where he, I think I don't remember exactly which verse this is or what book, but it says, "For now marvel, for Satan himself portrayed himself to be God." Whenever visiting, I can't remember who he visited, but he can change his appearance to look holy because he was an angel himself.
Yeah.
He can change his appearance to look holy himself. However, there's a little bit of twist with that, where he can give off the appearance of an angel because he does. Or no, he didn't portray himself as God. He portrayed himself as an angel from heaven. And because he was at one point. But he still has that gnashy, harsh demeanor because he's still Satan, obviously.
Right.
He's still like the big evil. So him whenever you brought up that part where he said like sign this,
And he was going
now
to
I
get
don't
mad.
quite know that, and he was progressively getting mad.
Yeah.
That part is where that plot twist comes in. I'm not. It could very well be him trying to be like, "Oh, look at me, I'm an angel. Like you got to sign
Yeah.
this book of life." But in reality, it could have been something different.
Yeah.
That's my own personal
Hell, it
belief.
could have been him trying to trick him, almost like selling his soul away in a sense.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. Like
because
I don't know.
I think it's
personally.
2 Corinthians 11:14. It's short, but essentially it says that for Satan himself transforms himself into an angel of light,
Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of.
um, and it that just encapsulates everything, that he'll disguise himself as a doer of good,
Mm-hmm.
and in doing so,
Yeah.
that brain activity might have been attributed to Satan himself trying to portray as three, um, maybe just 3 disciples with the book, saying, "Hey, you need to come up to. It's your
Yeah.
time to come up to heaven. Here, sign this book." And then meanwhile, that's not how that shit works at all.
Yeah.
Right.
So it might be just like, here. It's basically like signing on the car's extended warranty, except it's for heaven or hell.
Right. Yeah. No. And if I like I said that this story was only told to me once. It was years ago, but I don't think at any point they were scary. Like it wasn't like scary. You need to like come with me. Like you guys said, he could disguise himself as an angel. I think it was totally like that, where it was, that wasn't scary. It wasn't trying to like, force, but it did get a little almost forceful with, oh, you're not going to sign. You need to sign. Like you need to sign it.
Exactly.
You
Like
have to. And he was
yeah.
getting irritated. And then when he didn't, he just kind of like disappeared. He got mad and disappeared. And, with everything you guys said, it almost, again, it's just like last episode. I tell a story and then you guys add to it, makes it more creepy. Because I don't know all that, stuff.
Because like once again, I don't know exactly because granted, like that kind of ties with it, is that he can transform into an angel of light, and there have been times where other angels or other, like for instance God, he doesn't like show up on his own. Like God is known to have, I believe that like 2 or 3 different types of angels around him, like the thrones, stuff like that around him. So he could have been trying to portray himself as that, with the other 2 figures being the thrones.
Yeah.
Or if it was, I mean, they're like, or what Jesse said, like possibly what, like try to make himself look like Jesus or a different angel with a few of the past disciples, like stuff like that. Like that just adds to that layer of, dude, if this is true, what? That's weird that that's happened twice. Where
yeah, I
like,
know. No
biblical.
kidding.
It's crazy.
Well, I was hoping like you guys would have a few things to add to it, because for me, I don't really get into all that stuff. I don't really know it like that, and so when I heard the story, I was like, man, that's just a really creepy story. Like it sounded to me like when I heard it, it just sounded like, okay, some angels or some sort of a person showed up to, hey, sign this book and come with me. It's you're basically just, your life's over, let's go, it's time to pass away. And that's the way I took it, which is obviously creepy just in and of itself. But then when you guys can add all that extra, that it could have been basically like a decoy, makes it that much more scary.
Yeah, there's a lot of text throughout the Bible where the devil is cited as disguising himself as any type of entity or being, and it's in that Corinthians one's probably in 11:14 is probably, whenever I was doing my studies on a lot of that subject matter, was probably the one that stuck out to me the most, just because that really encapsulated that, if he wants to, he will. And that goes for people at birth or death, midlife. If, he sees a chance to he's opportunistic. So if, he can see a person that might, you know, be on their deathbed, if he has a chance to get in there before the actual holy relics, make their way down,
Yeah.
as
Mhm.
to put it, if he has a chance to slip in there and be like, basically like cutting in line and commit the trickery that Satan himself loves to do, then it'd make a whole lot of sense. And like we've said, I mean, it adds a whole nother layer to everything. And,
Yeah.
just adding the religious aspect into it, because life and death, with religion, it ties in across the world. So you can't really help but tie in a religious aspect there. And when you think about if there's people that know quite a vast array of knowledge about the Bible, and then they look at this, then they might think the same thing, just given what Satan himself did many a time throughout the Testaments. And
Right.
it's just another instance of he's just going to do what he does, and if it involves trying to trick someone into signing away their life and vowing to serve him down under, then so be it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's two things I want to add. I don't think I told the story that well, just because it's been so long. I am like 90% sure, which I didn't say it in the story, that he had some sort of issue going on, whether it be, I know 90% sure that he went to the hospital after he woke up because I think he had some sort of heart attack or some sort of medical emergency that he then needed to go to the hospital. So basically, he was, right there at death,
Right.
and then woke up. I don't think I clarified that very well. Secondly, what's equally terrifying to me is that, like I said, I don't get into all this stuff that much. Let's just pretend everything is completely true that's in the Bible and everything's completely true that you guys had just said. What is super extremely scary is that if all that is true, how many people has he tricked that had no idea and just was like, oh, I need to go with you. Let me sign this book.
And as far as my best guess would go, it'd probably be a almost equal 1-to-1 ratio.
Yeah.
I mean, it's if I remember right, it's even said in the Bible where now, granted, he doesn't say anything the authors never say anything about this particular instance, to my knowledge. But I mean, Jesus says himself that not nowhere near it. Like a lot of people think that they're going to go to heaven, and the reality is, I don't think it was Jesus. I think it might be Old Testament, where a lot of people end up not, just because of just they think that they have like a sure seat, but in all reality, it is not easier said than done. And a lot of people do get tricked. A lot of people do get led down the wrong way, one way or another. And if that's the case, maybe that's just a plan or a plot that, if it is real, I believe it's real. I'm a believer, but if that is something that
Yeah.
is his plot, that is something that I have never thought of before. Because I mean, that is you think you're there, right? Like you think you lived a great life, you lived a holy life, you whatever, to the best of your ability, you think you're right there,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, you see that, and
Yeah.
you probably don't think anything of it until something waves you off. Hopefully, something deters you from signing it. But think of the people that don't catch, are way too trusting, or just don't catch that. Hey, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Feeling.
Yeah.
Never would have thought about that before. Jeez.
I'm getting cold chills.
I mean, it creeps me. That is as a believer, as someone that I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, I'm not anything like that. I'm far from that, but I am a believer. As someone who does believe, that definitely, I mean, that messes with me a lot. That's
Yeah.
something that I had never once thought of being a possibility before. That's oof.
Getting fucking duped, man.
I know.
Duped.
Got duped.
Got
Gotcha.
duped. You're coming down with me, boy.
Gotcha.
Oh, this episode's been depressing. This is sad.
Yeah.
Do we have enough time for a fast one? I know I was planning on doing a longer one, but I have a faster one that I could do to make it
fast
two.
one. Do a fast one.
All right, so I don't. Jesse, do you want me to bring up?
All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Jesse, do you want?
Oh hell!
This is. You might need to help me with this one. This is the Fayette story. The one where you and I were going out with a few friends. Should I name the people or no?
I don't think they would care.
Okay, from what I remember, and this is the part that I think you'll need to help me. It was you, me, Larry. Was Shep and Matt there too?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's like 5 of us.
Yeah, it was us 5 boys. We were out pretty dang late. I mean, I think it was like well after midnight going on a walk in the middle of summer. It was great outside, but we ended up, because the elementary school that was around Jesse's place, they had a relatively like a community playground for the most part, and I think we were just throwing the ball out there for a while. And Jesse, he couldn't stress this enough. Jesse had this brand new flashlight, a really fancy flashlight at that. He had just gotten it out of the box, like either that day or the day before.
I'm
Never had a
sorry.
fault with it.
You said Jesse. You said Jesse.
Yes.
Okay, Jesse had the flashlight. That sounds like something Jesse would brag about. Look how bright my light is.
It was a bright ass flashlight.
It was a blinding flashlight. We get down there, we throw the ball a little bit, but once we kind of realized that we really couldn't see anything. Like, yeah, we had that spotlight of a flashlight, but it was pretty hard to do that while also throwing the football. So we decided to walk on back. But meantime, like we passed through the front door of the elementary school again, and Jesse, we noticed a light on in the inside. Bear in mind, like 3 a.m, no cars, or like 2 a.m, I think, 1 or 2
It was
in the morning.
close to that.
No car in sight of this elementary school, and nobody should be in there, especially during the summer. And Matt, are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure before I kept going.
Sorry. I just like doing stupid shit when you guys tell stories.
All right. But there was a light on the inside, and ironically enough, that brand new flashlight that Jesse had gotten was starting to flicker.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just gotten done watching some Ghost Adventures and talking about how like spirits can influence like electricity and like stuff like magnetic fields, stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of times
And
you get power
Jesse's
from
brand
batteries.
new flash, huh?
A lot of times they get power from like batteries and stuff. Was the batteries brand new? That's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Brand new batteries, brand new
brand new
flashlight,
batteries, okay.
brand new bulbs. Everything was brand new in that flashlight. And it did not falter the entire way until we had gotten up to that front door. We couldn't see anybody in there, but like after a while of just sitting there with the flashlight just flickering and to the point where it just shut off, we start walking back. And we got, I would say, about 60 yards away, and immediately the flashlight starts working fine. Now, a bit of context to that is, I don't remember, Jesse, I don't know if you, like, your grade ever talked to you about this, or, like, ever ran with these rumors, but in my grade, there was definitely a rumor that allegedly a janitor had committed suicide in the elementary school.
Yeah. I learned it from my brother in his class, I do believe.
Like that was like a pretty big thing, especially in like I would say across the board. Like I don't know if it's ever said now, but like back then it was said constantly that a janitor had committed suicide in the school, and some people even would go so far as to say that he's still there. And I didn't think about that until just a little bit ago, where I was like, oh yeah, there. Who knows? Maybe some wandering spirit is in that school still. Do I
So
know
you
for
guys
sure?
didn't really,
Absolutely not.
you guys didn't really see anything. Just the flashlight just stopped.
We noticed
Work.
that once again, like the flashlight had immediately started working again the moment that we got far enough away, and we tried like hell to find like a good angle of like what, because once again, me and Jesse and Larry, we all went to that school, so we tried to find any possible like good view of a window to see like what room it was in, but or like what hall, like we could see what hallway it was in, but we couldn't really tell like what classroom or what, if it was in the library or bathroom, like whatever. But
Right.
we didn't see anything. But like I will say, like the feeling of just seeing that brand new flashlight, especially after watching Ghost Adventures,
Yeah. No,
like
that
and
adds
knowing
to
it,
it.
like
It's bad timing.
Yeah.
it was terribly, and then
How old
it
were
was
you
even
guys?
weirder whenever Jesse goes, because we turned off the flashlight just to save battery or whatever, and then Jesse turned it back on, and he was like, guys, this thing's working again.
Right.
And it worked perfectly fine. Like he kept it on for a while, and it didn't waver, didn't flicker, didn't nothing. And I was just like, man, fuck that. No.
How old were you guys?
Oh
Like
god.
16, 17.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you
I
guys
think
were
I was the
definitely
youngest
older.
at maybe 15.
I didn't know if you guys were like just super young kids and just, you know, the flashlight just kind of screwed up a little bit and you guys, you know, overreacted. But yeah, no, you guys being that old, you know,
Oh
that
no,
would be
no.
definitely scary. I'm just imagining it being like a scary film where like someone's got this bright flashlight and they're like out in the woods showing it, and then the light starts flickering, and as the light turns on, you just see something in the woods just, you know, getting closer. That would be like super
There's a
scary.
fucking Wendigo out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wendigo, Skinwalker, fucking no, fuck that.
Big
Just
feet.
like as it's like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you just see it like
Dude, fuck that. I don't like being
kind of
chased.
motion hiding behind
I
trees.
don't like being
He
chased.
said I don't like
dude.
being chased.
Dude, that is my biggest fear. Oh, I hate being chased.
Being chased.
Oh, Phobias Part 3.
Oh no!
We'll start that one.
No.
Oh,
I hold
man.
that as my copyright episode, and I will say, not until
he's
the far, far future will there be a part 3.
Do you have legal documentation backing up these claims?
I do, and I have
Bullshit.
I do, and I have 2 episodes worth of evidence.
I'm gonna
It's
do
not
a
legal
phobias,
documents.
but we're just gonna name it
That's
something
legal
different.
proof, though.
All right.
Worst fears.
Yeah.
So I compiled all the evidence. I compiled all the evidence and all the testimonies and witness accounts from both of you guys and your secondhand novellas. And I'd say at a comparative scale, both of you combined, from on a scale of 1 to 10, your stories were bonkers.
Yeah.
So you got a grand total scale of bonkers, which I'd equate to like an 8.5. So you guys both passed.
Yeah.
It's this one is equally as hard as I'm sure the last episode was for you, Alex. But I think history has gone to repeat itself, and with the help of both of us and our religious knowledge.
Can I just say I am partially impressed with myself with that, because like once again, like I will always say I'm not a pastor, I'm not a preacher, like stuff like that, because I don't know the word nearly as well as I should as a believer and everything. But with that, I was just like, wait a minute. Like recently, I picked up enough information to actually be like, wait a minute. You've heard of 3 people, and like you've heard of like this kind of context relatively to the point where I was like, oh fuck, Matt. Oh no.
You're telling
That's
me
not
I
good.
fucking remember the fucking verse.
You remember the verse? Like I was just like once you said it, it clicked. I was like, oh god, it was that Second Corinthians.
All right, Alex, let's do what we did last episode. You hold the bottle. You hold the butt.
I never
of the
officially announced anyone, by the way.
Yeah,
Oh,
he didn't.
well,
He didn't finish.
said history repeated itself.
I did cut him off.
Okay. All right, Jesse, you finish what you were saying.
All right, that doesn't affect this episode, Matt, but next time I host, I'm definitely keeping that in the back of my head. But we helped Matt out again. Just I mean, his story was good on its own, but with the religious expertise, added a whole nother layer. Like he has onion stories. He has onion stories, and there's always so many layers to everything, and it might be from outside help as well. That it's actually bullshit.
He has onion layer stories where he can get like the wrapper off, like the papery part of the onion off. Meanwhile, with the help of you and I, we are splitting that fucking onion open.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, by the way, this is how truly fucked that story is, Matt. Just so you know.
So. In the grand scheme of things, Matt, you are today's winner, MVP. Alex, it was close. I liked everyone's stories just as much as the next guy's, but we helped them, and that really just fucked me up internally, as far as fear and intrigue goes. So. If you don't mind, if you have any final last losing words, I'm all ears.
I just gonna say to myself, note to self, stop helping your opponents win matches, because god damn it is costing you games. Like 2 fucking times. Now granted, I was a judge for one of them, so that doesn't fucking help either, but god damn it, I was like, I mean, we just went, for everyone to know, we just went through the tally marks of like who has the most MVPs and everything, and guess who doesn't have the most, and guess in fact who has the least? This fucking guy. And for some reason, I opened my dumbass trap to help him get another one. So, fuck my life. That being said, I'm happy for Matt. Good on you. I'm glad that you're able to get the onion paper off of there, so I could just split it down to the core for you.
I'm giving half of my trophy to Alex. I'm giving half a point to Alex. Alex, you did great this episode with making my story so much more terrifying. Was that a hair tie? You got a hair tie?
Yeah, I've been fucking with it.
Oh, okay.
Just been playing it.
Speaking of hair ties, fucking Pookie fucks with them. If there's a hair tie,
all
Pookie
cats
finds
fuck with them. Witcher fucks
Witcher is notorious for messing with them.
Fucking
You
cats.
can set it on the counter 7 different times and you will still find it on the floor.
Yeah, Pookie will make hair ties appear from thin air and then just fucks with them. And then at some point, Ruby will get the hair tie
there,
and Ruby will just destroy it. And then Pookie's sad. That's kind of
focused.
Yeah. No, the total trope. Wait, hold on. Here I am, goofy. Yeah. So I got the top. Alex got the bottom. You guys, we did great.
It won't focus, but
I would argue, and this is coming from the MVH, the most valuable host. I'm going to say this.
Oh, geez.
I think with the 2 episodes that happened today, I think you both are deserving of the MVH. So the last two episodes. So I think we're an even split on MVHs.
And as far as total wins go, there's a 4-point differential between all of us after these last 2 episodes. So 12-8-4. Remember that.
Matt, you better get me a fucking point.
I just said I'm giving you half a point.
I didn't count my half point, so Alex's, unfortunately. It's just more of a patronizing glance rather than an actual point.
I kind of owe both of you at this point because you both helped me each episode to get
okay. I'll take a quarter of a win.
You'll take a quarter of the win as the host.
Yeah.
I'm like the guy that just did some of the work, and you guys did most of it, and I reaped the rewards.
That's the Matthew Walden way.
Yeah, I just reaped the rewards from your guys' hard work. I'm the kid in class that joined the good group, and everybody hates the kid because he's like, this guy's not putting in any effort.
This guy's
and
an
then
idiot, bro.
And then I still got the A.
Fucking
So,
freeloader.
Yeah.
So, for the sake of brevity and the fact that I really have to piss, we're finishing it here. Well played, gentlemen. Those were really, really good stories. My timbers were shivered. You did exactly what we came here to do today. For all of you guys listening out there, go watch and like our TikToks. Matt and Alex here crank those out on a weekly basis. We got daily TikToks. We got a Discord. We got a subreddit. We got a Facebook. And also check us out on YouTube. We upload there on Fridays after the episode goes up on Spotify on Mondays. So I'd just like to thank you guys so much for watching and tuning in with us today. Hope you enjoyed it. And we will be back next week with another round of bullshit. And hope you can hang in there and tune in to us next week. So without further ado, that's the end. Fini, we done. Pan out.
Pan out.